Each week on Culinary Confidential, Christina Cates, a seasoned foodie who has worked at some of New York City's top restaurants, will share her passion for the culinary world. Whether you're a professional chef, a restaurant enthusiast, or a lover of good food, Christina dives into the heart of hospitality, exploring the trends, triumphs, and challenges facing the food service profession. And you won't want to miss her chats with some of the most interesting and influential industry voices. And now, please take your seat at the table as Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates starts now, exclusively on AM 970. The Answer.
Welcome to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates. This show is produced in association with my dear friend, Lucas A. Ferrara. The show tonight is all about at-home cooking tips. Maybe you're already a seasoned home cook, or you're somebody just learning how to cook without setting off the smoke alarm. We've got you covered tonight. We're giving you simple, smart, and time-saving tricks to make your kitchen life easier, tastier, and a whole lot more fun. Now, here are the facts. 71% of U.S. adults say they cook at home at least 4 times a week. More than half of Americans say they cook more at home now than they did a year ago. 82% of consumers say they cook at home to save money. 62% say it helps them eat healthier. 56% enjoy it as a creative or relaxing activity. But only 40% of Americans say they feel only somewhat confident in the kitchen. Now, according to Harvard School of Public Health, families who cook together eat healthier and feel more connected, and that home-cooked meals are linked to lower calorie intake, less sugar, and better overall nutrition. The digital space is having a huge impact on the at-home cooking community. Platforms like TikTok and Instagram are full of cooking content, and they generate billions of views, showing a growing demand for fast visual tips. So to help us with this is Chef Carmine DiGiovanni. He's in the studio with me tonight, and he's giving us the inside scoop on how to be a master chef in your own kitchen. Now, Chef Carmine, he's no stranger to AM 970. Carmine spent a lot of his career as the corporate chef and partner of David Burke Hospitality Management. So David, besides being a very popular celebrity chef, is also a friend of the station. Carmine has joined David Burke on the air before on the Joe Piscopo Show, which everyone knows airs Monday to Friday from 6 to 10 a.m. So besides working for David Burke, Chef Carmine has served as the executive chef of Michelin on the Upper West Side of New York City, and under his leadership, the restaurant sustained its 2 Michelin stars. He's collaborated with renowned chefs like Eric Ripert, David Ballud, and Laurent Gros. Currently, he's blending his culinary artistry with business insight and is the founder of TPG Consulting, where he helps support restaurants and venues with his vast knowledge of the industry. So let's see what we can squeeze out of our Michelin star chef tonight. Maybe some at-home pasta tips, some grilling ideas since we're in the summer. But let's turn up the heat and your confidence tonight in the kitchen. Chef Carmine DiGiovanni, welcome to Culinary Confidential. I'm so excited to have you on the show tonight.
Excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Cooking at home is all the rage right now, so I know you are the guy to help us with this. Do you want to start by talking about Aunt Jake's, which you're involved in, because pasta making, and we're going to talk about that tonight.
Sure thing. Aunt Jake's is a restaurant on the Upper East Side. We started with pasta classes about 10 years ago. Phenomenal hands-on experience. Myself, I'm the chef and founder of Aunt Jake's. So, teaching people how to make pasta from scratch at home with just very simple, basic ingredients of flour, eggs, a little bit of olive oil, then you're off to the races.
And where is it? It's on 2nd Avenue, I know, right? But what are the cross streets?
81st and 2nd.
81st and 2nd. Okay, that's great. So we're going to talk about pasta making at home in just a minute, but let's talk general cooking advice, if you will. We'll start with that. What do you think is the number one tip for becoming more confident in your at-home kitchen?
I've always gone on the mantra of proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. So it's like
poor performance. Yeah, you got to set yourself up for success at home.
You have to be prepared. Have the mise en place, like in the industry we call it mise en place, but
yes.
have all the ingredients out. But the biggest part I would say for a home cook is not to just watch the Instagram video or the TikTok, because you're going to see all the cute stuff. You're not going to see all the prep that goes into it. But before you even get into watching the video or watching any kind of video, really read the recipe and understand what you're doing. If it says caramelize the recipe and you don't know what caramelize means, look up what caramelize means. Because, you could cook an onion 4 different ways and it'll taste differently. So understand each process through and through before you even start the recipe.
I think that's great advice. Okay, I'm sure you have some go-to pantry staples you like to keep at all times,
Sure.
like on deck. What are those?
Oddly enough, I have a little truffle jam that I make.
Oh, you're going, going super high end here. I was talking about like chicken stock.
No, chicken stock's something really quick that I can make anytime. So, I'll make chicken stock. I'll save bones from like steaks and make bone broth out of them. But like overall, like, little condiments and little chutneys that you have, like if you have some lemons that are or citrus that is going bad, cook it down, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of salt, or even preserve them. And then like that little preserve goes such a long way in a recipe.
Wow. Okay, so I guess I need to elevate what I do, because I thought I was being a hero just by putting my lemons that were about to go bad in a glass container in water in the refrigerator to squeeze an extra week or two out of them, but you're making jams out of them.
Yeah,
okay.
little jams and preserves, that goes a long way.
I love it. All right. What about some go-to, maybe like kitchen gadgets or tools? Like, because we're talking about people that don't really know how to cook. Like, I would just say right off the bat, probably a mandolin, right?
Yep. Mandolin is great. Please use the guard. Watch your fingers.
Please use the guard.
One thing is also really important is sharp knife. I can't emphasize that enough. But like the one thing is challenging that you don't have the old school knife sharpeners out there anymore, or like the guy running around the street with a bell to sharpen your knives. Like back in 1940.
Let's bring it back.
Sure. But like, it's a kitchen gadget where you just put it on the counter and like run your knife through it. It has like the little V blade. As simple as that sounds, just running your knife through there a couple of times, keeping it sharp is essential.
Yeah, it'll make your life a lot easier.
Absolutely.
And if you're cutting things easier, you'll prevent accidents, right?
Sure, definitely.
I mean, I call my parents' kitchen like the house of dull knives. I hate cooking there because everything's dull, and cutting a tomato is a problem.
Yeah, you go to anyone's house and it's like a drawer of knives.
Yeah.
All dull. All dull.
Okay, what's a common mistake you think at-home cooks are making? Or like, how can they even avoid it?
Controlling the heat. I see a lot of cooks professionally or even amateur level where it's like either full blast or no heat, not enough heat.
Yeah.
Whereas like
I think I'm guilty of that.
Controlling the heat.
Yep.
Really like understanding the recipe and like if you're searing something to have a hot enough pan, the right oil, and the right pan.
You know what it is? I think when I cook at home, because I'm often cooking for 2 small children, I'm always cooking something fast and furious, right? I'm like, I got to cook something fast in 30 minutes, so I'm just going to put it on high and get it over with. Mm-hmm. But in the same regard, what are some like 30-minute meals you would recommend for a busy person who wants to cook at home, really only has 30 minutes from prep to plate that they can kind of have in their arsenal for during the week?
Well, you could have like a nice thin steak that you could pound out a little bit, sear it really quickly. 30 minutes, you can knock out a great risotto, properly.
30-minute risotto?
Absolutely. You can knock out a risotto in like 22 minutes, 23 minutes, honestly. And like the method for risotto for me has always been very simple. Like, oddly enough, Arrigo Trippiani taught me how to make risotto at the restaurant.
Wow.
He walks in his like dapper suit.
Okay, now I want to try your risotto.
Sees me making risotto, and he's like, "Kid, I'll show you." I was like,
show you the way.
Yes, exactly. So it's just like really about working the starch and like keeping very little water and like activating that starch to make that creaminess happen, and constantly stirring. It's a labor of love, but like once you make it, it's to die for.
I try to make risotto a lot. Mm-hmm. I feel like when I make it, maybe, and this might be the problem, I'm adding too much liquid to the pan, but it's still, even if I cook it for like 30 plus minutes, it doesn't feel fully cooked through.
Yeah, you got that hard boil, agitate it, but like as far as liquid, you just want to cover the rice a little bit and then keep adding water, but also the water or stock that you're adding to it should be hot, so every time you put it in, it's still boiling throughout for 25 minutes, 22 minutes.
Okay, so we're going to try that. Okay, are you a fan of meal prepping ahead of time?
If you don't have the time for cooking a meal every night and, you're not using one of these programs that are out there, meal prepping is great, because then you can actually really control what you're eating, have a good meal, and it's fresh and it's delicious. So, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's talk at-home pasta making, which might be your specialty, right?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
All right, I've never made pasta at home. Mm-hmm. I just have never tried it. Okay. I've watched enough TikToks and Instagrams to think like I could probably do it. It does look easy enough, but let's start with the basics here. What kind of flour is best?
Typically at the restaurant we use imported flour. One, because of all the
additives.
All the additives that is in American flour and like the nutritional value that is in European flour versus American flour, it's much better on your digestive system. So therefore, we find that the European flour works better. And plus, as a guest, I want you to come back multiple times. So like, if you're getting bloated every time you dine in my restaurant, then you're not going to come back as frequently. So if you have a nice light meal, you have a great delicious bowl of pasta, and you feel great afterwards, nice and light, you're going to come back more frequently. So it's by design, but also I think it's a better flour. It's a better product.
So you're not using Pillsbury bleached flour?
No.
Wow, that's shocking.
No, we use Caputo.
Where can someone buy imported flour?
I see it in a lot of markets now, like Whole Foods has it, but also like Bone Italia. There's a market in Chelsea Market that has it. In New York City, you could order it online. Amazon has it now. So it could be at your doorstep.
So you got to prepare for that a little bit.
A little bit.
You can't just be like, all right, I'm stopping at Stop and Shop and getting imported.
No, exactly.
Flour.
But if you have regular flour at home, like one restaurant, what we teach at the restaurant is a 2-to-1 recipe. So it's literally 1 cup flour, 2 eggs, and that'll make enough pasta for 2 people.
1 cup flour, 2 eggs.
1 cup flour, 2 eggs.
And those are the only ingredients.
A tablespoon of olive oil.
Call it a day.
Yeah.
Walk me through the process here. So we're mixing that. I watch this. So they put the flour, the egg, you mix it in the middle, you make a little well, right? And then
Very important part, though. When you're mixing that and scrambling the eggs, you have to scramble them nice and hard because egg white and egg yolk absorb flour differently.
Interesting.
So you really want to homogenize that ingredient together so that it all forms uniformly.
Okay, so that's a great tip.
Yeah, absolutely.
With scramble hard. Scramble hard at home. Yep. Okay. And then you start the kneading process.
Get like a little bench scraper, or if you have, or with a fork, scrambling the eggs, start mixing in the flour. You're going to have like a very clumpy, lumpy mixture, like almost like pancake batter, if you will.
Okay.
Which is perfectly fine. So once it comes together, it's going to look like dry scrambled eggs. Mm-hmm. So if anyone out there made dry scrambled eggs before, you did a good job. So it's going to look like dry scrambled eggs on the board. Then you kind of mound that together, and then you start the kneading process. So the kneading process is very simple, predominant hand, like pushing and rolling through the dough, flipping it over onto itself, and then continuing that process until you have like a nice uniform dough ball.
But how do you know how long to knead it for?
Very simple. Once you have that dough ball and you knead it for probably about, I would say, 6 or 7 minutes.
Okay.
I call it a 3-finger test. So keep the ball on the table, push 3 fingers in it, and basically it'll redact. It'll snap back like pretty quickly, and that's the gluten and the protein inside the dough that you've worked up to that point. And if it doesn't snap back, then you need to knead it some more. Yes, it's possible to over knead it. No,
that was my next question.
It's possible. However, that'll be like 25 minutes, 30 minutes, and your arms will literally be burning and falling off.
So do you need to rest the pasta dough after you knead it?
Yes. Once it snaps back, wrap it in plastic wrap. Keep it out on the counter or refrigerate it if you're not going to get to it within an hour. But if you're going to get to it in an hour, like 45 minutes to an hour, then you could roll it out.
Can you freeze it?
You could freeze it.
Probably not the same though, right?
No. Because then like what happens is it'll pull on like water crystals and like water from moisture from the freezer. And it'll like kind of wet, like make it mouchade.
Mouchade. Okay, yeah. All right, so let's talk maybe some flavor and texture. What if I want to make like a squid ink pasta or a pasta that has herbs in it or spinach?
Yeah.
Where do you pull that into the recipe?
From the basic recipe, it's 2-to-1. So 2 parts wet, 1 part dry. In this case, for the 2-to-1 recipe, we're using 2 eggs and 1 cup flour. So if you want to minus 1 egg, and usually an egg weighs about 180 grams. So then take 1 egg out and then replace that 180 grams with any kind of flavored liquid that you want. Like we use beet juice, we use spinach juice, we use basil. Or if you want to like have like herb speckled pasta, what I recommend is make the basic recipe with the 2 eggs and the flour. And then as you're sheeting the pasta, sprinkle the herbs and layer it in.
Oh, so kind of just like sandwiches
speckles,
it in there.
Yeah.
What's your favorite pasta?
My favorite pasta would be cavatelli because it has ricotta cheese folded into the dough. So I think it has a nice little tang to it, nice snap, but beautiful pasta.
I didn't know it had ricotta cheese in it.
No, like traditional one that has ricotta.
Wow. Okay, I have a new appreciation for that. Okay, why does pasta sometimes come out too soft or gummy?
Because it's not cooked well.
Because it's not cooked well, or you messed up the recipe, right?
Someone either messed up the recipe or it's not cooked well. Typically, if the pasta started out too wet, or they didn't dry it out enough. Like after you make the fresh pasta, you want to have it sit for like at least 2 hours, to release some of the gases and like not necessarily gases, but like release some of the moisture that's in there.
Now, what if you don't have like a pasta maker at home? Are there pastas you can make with just a kitchen knife?
Absolutely. Absolutely. One thing I tell people in the class all the time is if you don't have a rolling pin or if you don't have a pasta sheeter and you have 2 bottles of wine, I recommend 2 for the simple purpose, 1 for drinking, 1 for rolling.
Love that.
Usually when you're done with the 1 bottle of drinking, you might have enough sheets there or you might need the second bottle. So, 2 bottles of wine to knock it out. Just start rolling out the pasta into sheets. And then you could simply make like little fruit roll-ups and then cut it into tagliatelle or pappardelle, which is a thicker noodle.
Yeah.
You could also cut like 2x1 squares and pinch it together in the center and make farfalle.
That's great.
If you
It's my kid's favorite.
If you have a gnocchi board, you can make garganelli out of it. So there's a lot of like hand shapes that you could do, or just with a simple chef knife you could make, with just a sheeted pasta.
What do you think is the easiest shape to make for a beginner?
Tagliatelle, probably.
Just stick with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, simple roll, cut.
I want to talk maybe a little bit about jarred sauces.
Sure.
After the commercial break, we'll talk about like proper sauce. But if we're making the at-home pasta, is it frowned upon to use a jarred sauce with that?
Absolutely not. I use jarred sauce all the time.
Like what?
Like
Rayo's?
Like if I'm cooking at home, I'll either use Carbone or Rayo. Shout out to Mario, great guy.
I know. Get him on the show, Chef Carmine.
Yeah,
please.
No worries. I'll call him tomorrow.
Great.
But like great sauce, great product. Because like what? It's a simple product. There's tomato, olive oil, salt, pepper, basil, and that's it. Like Rayo's, I haven't tried them since they were bought by Campbell's, so I hope it doesn't change. I saw the label change a little bit, but I don't know. I haven't tried the actual product yet. But like those 2 sauces, I would stick to. And like honestly, you could use that as a base and just, for example, what I do with the either Carbone or the Rayo sauce, I like a lot of garlic and basil and white wine and chili flake. So what I'll do is I'll brown some garlic and olive oil, deglaze that with a little white wine, chili flake, basil, and then add the jar sauce to that, and in less than 10 minutes, you have a beautiful, fresh marinara sauce that like you would think is homemade. And then I bury like the jars in the bottom of the trash can. So
that's right. You don't let anyone see. I have to say, I did buy a jar of the Carbone marinara sauce recently for something. I don't even remember. It was something for my kids. I was like, I'm not making them a fresh sauce right now. Like, it's just not happening. And I was pleasantly surprised with it. I was like, this isn't bad.
No, it's good.
I mean, my mother would die if she knew I was using a jarred sauce, but she doesn't have to know everything.
No, but like back then, the jarred sauce was like, what was it? Prego, ragu, and that was it. It was
disgusting.
All
it was all sugar.
It was horrible, and the sugar. So like nowadays, the food world has changed in the past, I would say, 10 years.
That's right. All right. I think we got to go to our first commercial break. So stay tuned. You're listening to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates on AM 970 The Answer.
Over the last 30 years, Newman Ferrara, a New York City law firm, has evolved into a national practice focused on real estate, commercial, litigation, civil rights, class actions, and other complex litigation, representing many of the city's largest property owners, managing agents, and thousands of tenants. Newman Ferrara handles some of the nation's most significant class actions and civil rights matters. Newman Ferrara at 1250 Broadway in New York City. Go online to newmanferrara.com. That's newmanferrara.com. Listen to the firm's name partner, Lucas Ferrara, every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Dottie Herman's longest-running real estate radio program, Eye on Real Estate on AM 970. A real estate lawyer for 35 years, Lucas is a professor at New York Law School and is also a published author with books on real estate and New York's landlord-tenant law. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to hear Lucas's unique perspective and advice on Eye on Real Estate.
Welcome back to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates on AM 970, The Answer.
Welcome back. I'm back with the incredibly accomplished chef Carmine DiGiovanni. He's an industry pro, and he's been giving us some really great at-home cooking tips tonight. We were talking a lot before the break about how to make pasta at home And, we lightly touched on Aunt Jake's earlier, but I do want to dive a little bit more into that before we change the pasta subject, because you're doing some really great things there. Can you tell me, like, the run of show, like what you do at Aunt Jake's, like how many cooking classes a week,
Sure.
how long the class is?
Absolutely. So Aunt Jake's, we're doing about 35 to 40 classes a week. You can make reservations at auntjakesnyc.com.
How early do you have to book for that?
We're typically booked out about 2 months in advance.
Oh, my goodness.
So, like, it was something after COVID, it went viral, TikTok and Instagram and everything like that. So, people are coming out in droves, which is great. Phenomenal. Thank you. I appreciate all the support, appreciate all the love. And the phenomenal part is, like, it's really a great experience because, one, it's $65, I believe. $65. I don't get involved in pricing, but $65. And they come in, they start at the table, whereas, like, it's a counter height. So they make dough. And after they make the whole dough process, we teach them that. And then it's like we swap out pasta sheets, and then we cut that down into individual shapes. They would make 5 shapes throughout the course of the class.
Okay,
so they're
great.
learning 5 basic shapes: farfalle, tagliatelle, garganelli, pappardelle, and spaghettini. So they'll make those 5 shapes. So they have like a good basic knowledge, and it's really hands-on with the instructor. The instructor's going around the table, teaching everyone individually, any questions, any comments.
Making sure they're hard scrambling that egg.
Absolutely,
right?
And that's like what really separates Aunt Jake's from like a lot of the other pasta classes out there. Whereas like it's a hands-on experience. It's not just a tutorial or a demo. So you're really getting involved. Once they make their pasta, they pack it up. They take that home. We recommend how long they cook it and how long they store it. And then they sit down for a 3-course meal.
I was going to say, they're taking the pasta home. You're not feeding them while they're there?
No. The health department won't allow that. So.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
No.
Okay, got it. All right, I have probably the biggest question of the hour. Is it sauce or is it gravy?
For me, it's sauce. I grew up on gravy, though. However, being in the restaurant business, I call it sauce.
I think, because I was thinking about this myself the other day, I'm like, I think I call it both.
No.
Like, my mom would be like, I'm making gravy, but I also call it sauce. It's like a little bit from column A,
like
a little
if
bit
it's
from
just
column B.
like marinara, it's sauce. But if it has like all the accoutrements
The
of
meat
like
and
meat and stuff like that, then it's gravy.
The meatballs inside.
Right.
Yes. All right. We talked a little bit about sauce before the break, but it was jarred sauce. Now let's talk real homemade sauce. Because we're making all this pasta, we need something to put on it. What are some go-to sauces that you think store well in the at-home refrigerator?
Pesto. You can make a pesto really good. One thing is like very simple: parsley, basil, pine nuts, or even walnuts. Funny, like how I grew up, where it was like, if you were like high society, if you will, then you had pine nuts. If you didn't grow up high society, you had walnuts. So
Hey, it's a good substitution because pine nuts are pricey.
Pine nuts are very pricey.
Now everything's pricey.
Absolutely. So like once that's done, I would cover it with a little bit of olive oil on top to kind of create like a little seal with the olive oil. And then that'll last in your refrigerator for like a week at least.
So someone told me you can put pesto in the freezer in like an ice cube tray.
Yep.
And then you can pop them out as needed, like
Sure.
a cube, but not to put the cheese in when you're freezing it.
Yeah, I wouldn't put the cheese in. But also like one problem with that is when you're heating it in the pan, it might discolor.
Oh,
so
okay.
I prefer like using a mason jar or like an airtight jar, putting a little bit of olive oil on top just so it's all covered and no air's penetrating it, and it'll stay bright and vibrant for at least like 5 to 7 days.
5 to 7 days. Okay,
Absolutely.
I was going to ask that also. Are there any sauces that you think are good to freeze though, besides gravy? Like maybe a bolognese.
I would say like a cream sauce. Cream sauces might freeze a little weird. Like a carbonara, you don't want to freeze. Anything with like eggs in it or anything like that, you don't want to freeze. I would say stick to your red sauces, not your meat sauces. Like if you want to freeze like a garlic butter, like one thing people should make at home, which I think is phenomenal. Like with butter, if you have like a little bit of capers, a little bit of olives, throw that into a little food processor with butter, make a compound butter, and then roll it into like a little cylinder, and then you could finish a steak with that. You could finish fish with that.
That's
you could
probably a
finish a
best
pasta
tip
with
you
that.
ever had.
Absolutely. Like so, like all those little like condiments that you have on the door, if you will, go through them, see what you have. Like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this that you're never going to use. It's been sitting there for a year probably. Throw it into a processor, season it up, or even like if you have guests coming over and you want to make like a little butter board. Spread
That's
it,
all the rage right now.
Spread it on a board, a little bit of seasoning on it, whatever it is, like everything bagel spice or something like that, some nice soft bread. grill the bread a little bit, toast it, butterboard. You know, these little kitchen hacks, if you will, that you have at home that create just flavor bombs.
Oh, a flavor bomb. Who doesn't like that? All right. Are there sauces that go better with specific pastas?
Absolutely. There's, like with all your hand shapes and stuff like that, all like your farfalles, your garganellis, you want to put a nice light sauce with that. Those two shapes are from the Emilia-Romagna region of Italy, whereas like the sauces are very light in that area because a lot of the pasta is very delicate. So you want to showcase all that handwork that you put into the pasta versus like an extruded pasta like a rigatoni, which you would put with a heavier sauce, that gravy or a meat sauce or a vegetable sauce, because it's going to stand up to it much better than like a hand-cut piece.
Right. Okay, restaurants, they're just known to have the best marinara sauce, especially by the end of the night when it's back there on the stove and it's sitting there for a while. What's the key to that?
The key is really cooking the tomatoes. And one, like I've always emphasized to a lot of people, and I've said this before, is like really start with a great tomato first, something that you could eat raw right out of the can, or like something that you could eat raw before you even start with it. And that goes for any product that you're going to cook, whether it's a steak, whether it's a piece of fish, whether it's anything. If you start with a great product first and you finish with a great product, it really doesn't need a lot of manipulation. It doesn't need a lot of technique behind it, unless you burn it, of course. But, you know, starting with a great product is you're halfway through.
So the king of tomatoes, right, is like the San Marzano?
San Marzanos, yeah. You have some good tomatoes coming out of California nowadays, but...
Tell me. I don't know about that.
Like there's San Marzano, quote-unquote, tomatoes coming out of California, which... they're decent, you know, like if you can't get the DOP San Marzanos, because the funny like part with like food manufacturers and food processors, like the labels are weird. You know, like Parmesan spelt SAM is different than Parmesan spelled GIAN. Yeah, and like there's different laws of the region of where it comes from, which a lot of people don't know.
How do you fix a sauce that's like too salty or too watery? Is there a way to revive it?
If something's too watery, you could always low heat and reduce it for a little while. You know, cook out some of that moisture. Something's too salty. I don't like using a lot of sugar at all, so I would not put sugar in it. But like, you could save it with some lemon juice. Lemon juice might help you out, but overall, better off starting from scratch. And watch the salt as you're seasoning, because like what times a lot of new cooks and a lot of home cooks do, they'll season it, taste it right away, and then like they're like, oh, it needs more salt.
Right.
You know, but let the salt permeate the dish. Let the salt get in there and do its thing for at least 3 or 4 minutes.
Okay.
You know, let the salt activate a little bit. You know, work its magic and then taste it. Because if you taste it right after you season it, of course you're going to be like, oh, it needs more salt, it needs more salt. So like while you're cooking, like salt is such a conduit for like messing something up. Whereas like it becomes too salty. So let the salt actually do the process of working.
Okay, let's talk at-home pizza, because everyone I know is making pizza at home. It's all the rage. They have the little pizza ovens in the backyard, blah, blah, blah. What if I don't have that kind of thing? All I have is an oven.
They sell pizza stones and pizza steels. Or if you have an at-home barbecue, something I've done before in the past is actually cook the dough right on top of the pizza grill itself.
With nothing underneath?
Nothing underneath. You'll have to olive oil your dough a little bit.
Okay.
You know, make sure there's good olive oil. Work it out. You don't want it to be dry. Get the grill super hot and then screaming hot, and then shut off the fire. Shut it off. We'll go like about super low, because otherwise it'll burn. But then like you char the dough on both sides and just let it cook on it it's almost like a grilled pizza, like a grilled flatbread, if you will.
Okay.
It works out pretty well. You know,
so you're putting it on the grill without the sauce and the cheese first?
Correct. Yeah, you want to par cook it a little bit.
So par cook both sides.
Par cook it both sides. Hit it with sauce, cheese, any kind of toppings.
I mean, that's a great tip.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's summer. You don't want to cook in your house, right? It's hot. You're trying to conserve on energy.
Put the stone, like if you have a pizza stone that fits on the grill, you could put that right onto the grill and then cook on there if you don't have a pizza stone.
Oh, you know what? I do have one of those pizza stones that I never use. I guess I don't cook as much at home as I think I do. Are you making mozzarella at home?
I don't particularly make it at home, but you can. Nowadays, you have some great vendors out there that are doing home delivery from like Ballador to Chef's Warehouse, where you could really have accessibility to these great chef products. And you can make mozzarella at home. It's very simple to do, actually.
Tell me, because I've never made it.
One thing I like to do is get a nice curd, which is going to be mozzarella curd. Get that curd, and then you want to crumble it all uniformly. So it's all the same size, so it melts into the hot water. And it's really just hot boiling water, heavily salted water. So it should be like a little oceanic, if you will, on the salt content. Pour it over to the broken curds, and then let that sit for about 2 to 3 minutes. Dip your hands in ice water first before you go into the hot water. So it's like cold plunge your hands, and then start to go in and grab the curds and stretch them, and then work out all the air. So you're going to constantly stretch, fold it back, stretch, fold it back, and then you wind up with nice mozzarella balls.
I don't think I'm made to do something like that.
It's easy. I'll teach you. No problem.
Hot water. Oh, my God. All right. Let's go to the last commercial break. When we get back, though, Chef, I want to talk about grilling because it's summer. So I want to know what meats we're going to be grilling, some side dishes, things like that, grill tips, because grilling's not for me. I don't do it often, but I know you're the guy to help us. So stay tuned. You're listening to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates on AM 970 The Answer.
Over the last 30 years, Newman Ferrara, a New York City law firm, has evolved into a national practice focused on real estate, commercial, litigation, civil rights, class actions, and other complex litigation, representing many of the city's largest property owners, managing agents, and thousands of tenants. Newman Ferrara handles some of the nation's most significant class actions and civil rights matters. Newman Ferrara at 1250 Broadway in New York City. Go online to newmanferrara.com. That's newmanferrara.com. Listen to the firm's name partner, Lucas Ferrara, every Saturday at 10 a.m. on Dottie Herman's longest-running real estate radio program, Eye on Real Estate on AM 970. A real estate lawyer for 35 years, Lucas is a professor at New York Law School and is also a published author with books on real estate and New York's landlord-tenant law. Tune in Saturdays at 10 a.m. to hear Lucas's unique perspective and advice on Eye on Real Estate.
Welcome back to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates on AM 970. The Answer.
Welcome back. I'm back with Chef Carmine DiGiovanni, and he's been dazzling us so far with at-home pasta cooking tips, techniques. We talked sauce. We talked pizza. Chef, we're in the thick of summer, so let's hear some grilling tips.
Absolutely. One big thing about grilling is everyone goes outside, they turn on the barbecue super high. Obviously get it hot.
Guilty of that.
Get it hot, but control the heat. Once you put those steaks on there, go to medium heat. Even before you put the steaks on there, go to medium heat. Depending on
but
the
I thought that was the idea. You had to get the grill screaming hot.
Right, but at the same time, there's a lot of fat in the meat. There's oil if you marinate a little bit, and all that's going to spark up and flare up on you. And what happens is when you see all that fire, it's Instagrammable and oh my God, look at this.
Yeah.
But what happens is you get all that black residue from the oil burning, and it doesn't really taste good. So what I recommend is definitely to get the grill very hot. Turn it down to a medium heat. A medium heat where you should be able to put your hand about 5 to 6 inches over the grill and keep your hand there for probably 10 seconds without it feeling very burning you sensation. Do that little trick and your steaks will come out beautiful. And don't turn your meat every minute over and over, because you really want to get nice caramelization, nice crust on both sides.
Those grill marks. It's all about the grill marks.
All about the grill marks, yeah.
You prefer charcoal or a gas grill?
Charcoal's always preferred.
Really?
You have really great flavor on charcoal.
All right. Well,
absolutely.
I have a gas grill that hasn't been used in 3 years. I don't even know if it still works. I'm so intimidated by grilling. I don't know what it is. Just turning it on,
Or if you have a gas grill, they may have ceramic briquettes that you could lay in between the grill surface and also the gas, where it's coming out. So the gas is obviously going to create nice radiant heat, but the ceramics are going to create even more heat and get you a little more of a crust, and also control the heat a little more evenly.
Okay. All right. What's your favorite thing to grill?
My favorite thing to grill would probably honestly, big steaks. I'm a big steak guy. I'm really good friends with Pat LaFreda. Great steaks.
Oh, that's nice.
Order the the at home product, from him. But getting a nice, beautiful dry-aged steak. And like something I've been playing around with is getting fresh steaks and then aging them in Parmesan cheese.
Oh, tell me more about this. So, it's probably giving it like a nice funk to it, right?
It definitely gives a nice funk to it. So what you do is get a raw piece of meat, cover it with Parmesan cheese.
And this is freshly grated Parmesan cheese. We're not buying like the container of Kraft Parmesan.
Never, ever buy Kraft Parmesan cheese. Sorry, Kraft, but you should never buy their cheese.
Hey, what if they want to be a sponsor?
Listen, sponsor all day, but just never buy the cheese. Listen, I eat them Kraft Singles American all the time on my burgers, but the Parmesan cheese.
That's where the buck stops.
We'll talk about that somewhere else.
Yeah.
But in any event, cover the steak. Get a fresh steak, freshly grated Parmesan cheese, a nice, good quality product. Cover your steak in that, and like entomb it almost in the Parmesan cheese, all sides, and like nice, like maybe a little centimeter around all the way.
Okay.
Cover it in plastic wrap. Put it in the refrigerator for. Like, you could really go 14 days. You could go 21 days on it. And what's going to happen is, like, the cheese on the outside is going to get moldy, right? So you scrape all that off with the back of a knife, and the steak will pick up this really funky, aged Parmesan flavor to it. It's almost like steak Parmesan, like, if that's even a thing.
Yeah.
It'll probably be a thing in 4 years from now. But overall, like, it has such a good funk to it and flavor and richness from the Parmesan. It gives you this really umami flavor because, like, Parmesan cheese has a lot of salt in it, like milk fat and everything like that, but quite delicious.
Okay, but what kind of steak would you recommend to do this for?
I would do a ribeye or a New York strip.
Something with some marbling in it.
Definitely.
Not a filet.
Not a filet. I think filet's great to, cut, sear, cook. Beautiful steak, but I don't think it's really going to age very well.
No. Okay. All right. So for the beginner griller, what's a good cut of meat that's good to start with? Honestly, like a flank steak?
Honestly, flank steak, skirt steak, they're nice and thin.
And they're affordable.
And affordable, yes. It's definitely an economical cut. But flank steak's so delicious. Like, treated right, like a good little rub on it, good little marinade. You could keep it really simple. It's only about an inch and a half thick or whatever. So honestly,
easy to overcook.
Easy to overcook. However, like, the grilling part, like, you could just grill it literally 3 minutes on each side, and you'll have a beautiful medium rare steak. Plus they have all the gadgets nowadays that you put a little probe, and then it tells you on your phone with the temperature of the steak. So, I would recommend the home cook to use these gadgets. They have them for a reason.
They have them for a reason.
Exactly.
They're to help you.
They're to help you.
Okay, why is it important? Because I see this all the time on cooking shows and everything, that when you are grilling, you take the meat off and you let it rest before slicing it.
Important. Very, super important. Because, like, cooking is much like anything else, right? So, like, when things are hot, they expand. So, like, the meat structure, the muscle itself is going to expand, and the juices are going to, like, come out. So when it relaxes, when you rest the meat, what's going to happen is it's going to redact, and it's going to hold in those juices and the moisture. So that's really what you want, to have a juicy steak. I would recommend that whether you're roasting a steak at home, like in the oven, roasting a chicken, anything you're doing, you really want the item to rest a little bit. Like back to the pasta for a second. When you cook fresh pasta at home, or even dry pasta, what I always recommend people to do is finish it in the sauce, toss it together with a little bit of butter, Parmesan cheese, or pecorino. Yeah. It's much like when you shower. You get out of the shower, you put moisturizer on, all your pores are open.
Yeah, that's a great analogy, chef.
Yeah, so think about it like that. Step out of a hot shower, you've moisturized, your pores are open. The same principles apply to food. So the pores on the food are open, right? And as you cool down, then it's going to, like, absorb in. So the same principles apply to that steak as it does that pasta, as applies to, like, that's just natural physics, and we can't beat that.
We're getting a science class today, too.
A little bit.
All right, but what about, like, city living? You don't have a grill. You don't have a gas grill. You don't have a charcoal grill, but you want to eat a nice steak. How are you cooking it and not murdering it?
Cast iron pan.
Only solution.
Cast iron pan, or a good heavy bottom, like all-clad pan, or like a good stainless steel pan,
Just make a pan-seared steak.
Pan-seared steak. Good oil in there, like olive oil. I always use olive oil at home and butter.
You use olive oil more than butter?
I use olive oil and butter.
And butter, both. Okay.
So, like, if I'm searing a steak, I'll use olive oil.
And you're kind of, like, basting it a bit?
Sure, yeah. Baste it, put some garlic. You can grab some thyme and rosemary. And while you're basting it, you don't want the butter to brown. You want to keep the butter nice and frothy.
Okay.
And, like, kind of ladle over the steak as you're flipping and preparing it. And you'll have beautiful butter-basted steak.
That sounds great. All right, but are there any cooking tips for cooking a steak evenly?
Mm-hmm. Evenly would be, have a nice even cut of steak to begin with.
So it starts with the cut.
Yeah, you don't want something tapered. So if it's tapered, obviously it's going to be a little well done on the smaller side as the thicker side. So have a nice even cut steak, and really, when grilling, it's about controlling that heat. So like the home cooks out there, home grill guys, women, put your grill on, do the hand test, 5 seconds, 6 seconds, over the grill. And if your hand could stay there for 5 to 6 seconds, your grill's ready to go. If you're pulling your hand away after a second, your grill's way too hot.
Too hot to handle. All right, so you talked about this for a second earlier. Are you a marinade guy or a dry rub guy?
Depends on the cut. For example, like flank steak takes on marinades very well. Filet mignon would take on a dry rub very well.
Does it have to do with the marbling or the fat content in the steak?
It has to do with the texture of the meat and also like the marbling, which plays into the texture.
What is a good marinade or dry rub? And it doesn't have to just be for steak. If you have one for chicken or fish or something that grills well.
Oddly enough, coffee.
Wait, hold on. The coffee grinds or like actual brewed coffee?
Coffee grinds. You could use your leftover coffee grinds, dry them out a little bit.
Okay.
Just let them dry out on the counter. Add some salt, some coriander to that, a little bit of garlic powder, onion powder, or granulated garlic, some chili flake, and some coffee grind. I would just do probably about a 1-to-1 ratio on all of that.
Okay.
So like if you start with 1 tablespoon of coffee, 1 tablespoon of this, 1 tablespoon of that, 1 tablespoon all the way through, and that would make a great little dry rub.
What does the coffee bring to the table?
Flavor.
But like the warmness of it. I love coffee.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's talk fish grilling tips because I love to eat fish, but it's one of those things I just never make at home because I feel like it never comes out right.
Sure.
So fish on the grill, I've been known to let it stick to the grates and then it's ruined.
One quick tip for that would be they have these little silt pats that you could buy. These little grilling copper
I didn't know they had grilling
mats.
silt pats. Okay.
Yeah, the grilling silt pats that you could put on the grill. You can put the fish right on top of there. I've even done scallops outside.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Whereas if you get a nice sear on them, works out pretty well. Or like if you have a nice piece of fish and you want to get like banana leaves or some kind of like large leafy item, wrap your fish in that and then put it on the grill, and then your fish will cook inside those leaves.
Like steam it a bit. It'll steam inside.
It'll steam a little bit, yeah.
Where do I even buy a banana leaf?
Any bodega in New York City.
Okay, any bodega. Got it.
They'll have them.
Let's talk a little bit about the maintenance of the grill. How often are you cleaning a grill when you're using it? Are you just leaving it on for a minute after it's done cooking and letting all the stuff burn off?
Yeah, leave it on for at least a minute, 2 minutes, and let everything dry and get like nice and charred white, and then you can just brush it off a little bit.
Is there something you recommend for cleaning your grill?
Somebody else doing it.
Totally. It's like the worst, right?
Right. Like you should absolutely clean your grill, because one, you're cooking food on there, but also like. Don't use any hard chemicals. Don't use any like hard like degreasers or something like that.
Don't do that.
No. Just like really just clean it as you would clean a pot or a pan in your home. Like don't get by these like big heavy duty grill degreasers or whatever. You don't need that. Okay.
So what else are we grilling besides the obvious proteins? We talked chicken,
fish, vegetables. Like sometimes like you could really do a whole meal outside. On a grill, like some grilling stone fruits, like a stone fruit salad would be delicious.
Like a peach or something.
Sure, absolutely. Or like getting back to that pizza dough, like you don't have to make it savory. You could also do like a dessert one, like where you grill the pizza dough and then put like a blueberry compote over the top of it.
Nutella.
Berries. Yeah, Nutella. Yeah, absolutely. Bananas. Why not?
Oh, that's
and have fun with it. Like you keep the whole meal like grill focused, Whereas, like, you're just grilling everything on the grill, getting a nice little char to it.
Yeah.
Something I love doing is, like, taking summer vegetables, like zucchini, summer squashes, spring onions, and all that stuff, grilling them, tossing it together with, like, really just, like, loose, crushed, like, soft herbs. To me, soft herbs are, like dill, parsley, basil, all those, like, leafy items that you don't mind eating, like, not, like, the stick stuff, like rosemary or thyme. So, take all those soft herbs, toss it in there, like, and then you have a nice grilled vegetable salad, which... In the summertime, that's gold to me. That's amazing.
That's fantastic because you're grilling everything. You're starting with the appetizer, you're grilling the salad, doing the entree, you're hitting us with dessert. You don't even need to go inside the kitchen.
No, take some peaches, cut some peaches. Toss those a little bit of brown sugar, maybe even like a little brandy or something like that, or like a little whiskey or peach schnapps or Grand Marnier, something of that nature. Toss them in there and then grill them. Grill them, get them nicely charred, let them sit out on the counter room temperature or like summer temperature, ambient temperature outside. That little bit of vanilla ice cream.
Vanilla ice cream, totally.
Done and done. Like, keep it simple. Like, simple, stupid works, because it's just so delicious and people will be shocked as far as like how easy it was to make.
That's amazing. All right, we talked to Aunt Jake's, but what's next for Chef Carmine DiGiovanni?
Well, we're expanding with the Aunt Jake's concept. We have a property opening in Huntington, Long Island, probably in about 2 months or so, waiting on some permits and stuff.
Ryan Pagano, the amazing engineer, a Long Island guy. How do you feel about that?
Fellow Long Islandite myself. We're in Huntington, if you don't mind.
Huntington is
right off 110?
New street in Huntington, right downtown.
Okay,
Yeah,
right in that downtown area.
Yes, beautiful.
Good to know, Christina.
You should.
That very well may have to manifest.
I bring
Awesome.
the best for you, Ryan. What can I say? All right, Chef, this was amazing. Thank you so much for your time tonight. Thank you for listening to Culinary Confidential with Christina Cates, Sunday nights at 9 p.m. on AM 970 The Answer. Don't forget to check out Aunt Jake's. It's located at 1555 2nd Avenue and 81st Street, and you have to book 2 months in advance. Tune in next week. I'll be joined by Frank Giovanni, and he's going to talk to us all about the importance of family tradition and passing recipes down through the generations. His book, Meals and Memories with Nonno, depicts the life of his grandfather, Angelo Nonno Giovanni, who was an Italian immigrant who came to the United States at the age of 17 and lived to be 101 years old. He was a remarkable cook who used techniques from the old world and the freshest ingredients, usually from his own garden or local market, to create delicious meals for everyone he loved. But that's the show for tonight. Thanks for listening and have a great night.
The preceding program is sponsored by Shake It Off Live, LLC.